Hello everyone. In this tutorial, you are going to learn everything you need to know to start programming in Python. You don't need any prior knowledge in Python or programming in general to learn how to code in Python. Okay, let's begin. Python was invented in 90s by Guido Van Rossum in the Netherlands, and it was named after a British series called Monty Python Flying Circus. It is open source from the beginning. That means the source code of Python language is available for developers to read and even modify. The program written in Python are scalable and supports OOPS concept. Now for those who don't understand OOPS, just hold on tight. We will cover it later in this course. Python is also very popular due to vast number of libraries it contains, internally as well as externally. And these external libraries are written by developers all over the world. All right, before we get started, let me give you some ideas about what we can do with Python. Python is primarily used in pretty much all the areas. To begin with, like data analysis and machine learning are two of the main purposes of Python, where it can be used to analyze data, a huge amount of data, and also we can put logic and various programs for machine learning. Not only that, Python can be used to develop web as well as desktop application. Now, most of the application currently that runs all over the world, are data-driven application, and predominantly they are web applications. So Python comes along with some framework like Django or Flask, which can be used to create web applications. The another area that Python can be used is for automation and scripting. So a lot of these tasks that happens in organization, manual task where you have some kind of file operations or some kind of data movement from one place to other place, and like Excel modifications or data updation, all these kind of manual activities can be easily automated through Python. So that is another application of Python which is very popular. And then comes game development. So games can also be developed using Python. So Python has the capability to create all these modules and all that graphic programming which can be used to create games. And last but not the least, Python is also popular to automate IoT devices. So those who don't know what is IoT device, now for example, we have home automations or let's say smart bulbs. So nowadays we have the facilities to switch on and switch off a smart bulb using our phone application or phone app. Now these kind of automation can also be done using Python. So Python has the capability to automate these kind of devices which runs on microcontroller and other chips. All right. So this is about basics of Python, what Python is, and where we can use Python. Now, in order to write Python program, we need to install Python first. So to install Python software, you need to go to this URL, which is python.org/downloads. So once you go to that URL, you will be able to see the download button. From there, you can download the software and then install it. Okay, once Python is installed, next software that we would need is a code editor where we can write the code, and that software that we would be using in this course is Visual Studio Code. In order to download and install this tool, you need to go to this particular URL code.visualstudio.com/download, and once you go to that page, you can download the tool based on your operating system. So you would have a different setup for Windows OS or MacBook. Based on that, you have to download and install. So once you have downloaded and installed Visual Studio Code, you would be getting Visual Studio in this format. So once you open Visual Studio, you could see a screen like this where you'll have the Explorer in the left, and the right you can see an area where you can write the code. Now another thing is, before you use Visual Studio Code to run Python program, you would need to install an extension. Extension name is Python. So go to this view extension, and then the extension cell type Python. Once you type Python, you would be getting here Python Microsoft, and click on this. And since it is installed in my laptop, it is showing uninstall. But in your computer, if Python is not installed in Visual Studio Code, you would be getting a button here called install. So once you install it, Python will be installed in Visual Studio Code, and you would be all set to write a program. Okay, and once you see this screen, and in order to make sure that Python has been installed, if it is installed successfully, you would be seeing an arrow button that I see on my screen like this. So this is used to run a Python program. Now once we have this Python program written like you see on my screen, you click on this arrow button and you would see the result in this terminal. Okay, you give CLS command to clear the screen. And now if I click on this arrow, I see below here hello world. So the output of the program you will see here, and this is the section where you write the program. And the left side you can see the file list. Now because we clicked on extension, it is showing all the extension. If you go back to the Explorer view, go to view menu and click on Explorer. So now you would see all the files uh, that exist in a folder which you have already written or going to write. All right. So with this, we'll end the day one session, assuming that we have understood the session and we are all set to write Python program by installing Python and Visual Studio Code and all that. So get ready for the next session where we'll be writing our first program. Thank you.